for me, this role in this film came in a very serendipitous way. It was something that I had already written about in journals before I was actually given a role. And so I was attracted to this story and this character because I was like, oh, this Wakanda has never been conquered. Everything you were just saying. You know, the idea that they were so technologically advanced, and just how cool the suit was, and you can't forget it's a superhero movie. It's all of it. Him being a king, and so I knew that there was an opportunity there to pull from, you know, Egypt, pull from the Dogon, pull from the Khoisan, pull from various Zulu, in various different places, Ethiopia. And so my first conversation with him was to see if he was of that same mind, and he was. And so it for me, this whole thing, because when you talk about it being fantasy, where I make the argument, or you talking about, or are we, you know, appropriating culture? Like that could be a question too. But the truth of it is, we as African Americans have spent our entire lives trying to figure out where we came from. Yeah. So I actually have the right to do it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I have the right to go throughout the entire continent and pull from whatever I feel like you know, gives me a sense of identity. Yeah. But the thing about it is, now we have, I don't know, I've said this before, we had an opportunity to like look through our DNA and see where we come from. So that was, to me, the fact that this project gives every department, whether you're talking about hair, or you're talking about wardrobe, whether you're talking about set design, everybody can pull from those things that are meaningful to them in the continent. And when you're talking about a Wakanda, you're saying, well, this, if it hasn't been conquered, then in a sense, everything that we know about the continent for real came from it. Yeah. So you're not just borrowing things that are not connected. These are things that were dispersed from a central point that is connected. Yeah. And so when you look at what's being created from all those departments, from wardrobe, Ruth has the right to weave together these different cultures, because that's what Wakanda is. Wakanda is the place where it came from anyway. And so that reclaiming is something that we were able to do in such a celebratory way, and in such a way that was exciting for us. You could, I can pull this move. We can pull Zulu stick fighting in our fight. We can pull Zulu stick fighting, add that into some capoeira and Gola. Put that with, it was insane what you could play around with, you know, because the whole idea of what Wakanda is gave you the right, gave you the creative license to be as creative as you ever wanted to be with something that you should have had in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Collaborations with Brian, of course. Previously, you guys have been such a great team in terms of talking about this and riffing on what Chadwick just said.
Yeah, I think, well, me and Ryan, I mean, that's a brother of mine. You know, we kind of started together, you know, in a sense. So we have a shorthand and a level of communication. It was like, as soon as he got the job, he called me and was like, "Yo, Mike, you want to do this?" And I was like, "Cool, let's do it." So it wasn't a lot of thought behind it. But speaking of what, you know, Denai and Chad was just saying, I had the opposite perspective of that, because I didn't have that identity. There was nothing, the pain of not knowing where I came from. That's what Eric embodied. The separation, the disconnect, that disenfranchised. That place is where Eric lived, and he loved it, and he relished in it. And the pain came from wanting to prove to the motherland, to his roots, to his origin, that he exists. You know, that to not to be forgotten. You know, he represents the lost tribe. You know, that didn't really have any place to call home. And as much as, you know, T'Challa had the ancestry, that religion, that spirituality connection, he didn't have that, but he was entitled to some of that. You know, that he did come from that. So how is he going to get his point across? You know, he lied anyway, and he planned, and he set his plan into motion.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was the other side of that, which I thought was
Yeah.
really interesting.
I'll just say that while it is, of course, a superhero movie, as Chadwick just said, I also feel like in so many ways it's like Casablanca and Unforgiven and West Side Story, which is that it transcends the genre that it is, and it becomes such a bigger experience. We're going to take some questions from everybody. Just one.